Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where last episode we had some unfortunateness. Unfortunateness? That's a weird word, but sure, I'll go with it. We had some unfortunateness happening in Madagascar, but we are fine here. We're just continuing to push through. It'll take a little while. We also started up a war up over this way. Now, we've got a lot of tank units out over here that are currently not doing anything. So I'm going to select this up here, and I'm going to put in a front line just right up over here, like that. So any of these guys are going to be assigned up here who were not previously assigned. So that'll be fine, and we'll just get this area taken care of. There we go. No problem. And we'll just continue to push in, and I want these to have an overall offensive line. So I'm going to delete this offensive line, and I'm going to give this army group an overall offensive line of just get to here, much like what the infantry have. This offensive line, if achieved, will cause capitulation. Did that take? I don't know if that took. Yeah, there's multiple here. Okay, cool. So that'll be fine. We'll just get these tanks into position up over here, and eventually they'll arrive. Yeah, there they go. There's some moving from all the way down over here. That'll take them some time, but that's fine. So down in Madagascar, how's this going? Well, it could be going better, that's for sure. But I think it's going well enough. Why do we have infantry here? Interesting. I just noticed that we have that infantry there. Now, we just finished up our justification for fighting Rajputana. We don't really have forces in position for it. I'm going to move these infantry divisions over here, but this is definitely not necessarily going to be ideal. Do we have more infantry that we can put in there? Yes, and I'm going to do so. So these guys are going to be on their way over. I don't want to fight those yet, but our CB will expire eventually. It'll expire on 29 October. So we have until then. So that's absolutely fine. We're just going to continue to push in here. And that seems okay. East Africa has capitulated. That's interesting. So the war's over? Just entirely? I didn't expect that. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. I did not expect that to be the end of the war. I didn't think these guys had capitulated yet, but apparently they did. So that's actually really good for us, because that means that our tanks can now come down over here. They can frontline here, and I'm going to have our infantry army here. They're going to come down and frontline here as well. I'm going to have this force move into here, like this. And this is a marine force. That's fine for now. So these guys, I'm going to have them stop their movement. So we're going to delete all orders there. And they are instead going to just hang out for... Actually, no, they can... Yeah, they can just hang out for now. They can just hang out in, like, Baghdad. It'll be fine. So they can just chill up over here. I'm okay with that. We're going to move these forces in, and we're just going to plow through here with an offensive line that's going to look something kind of like this. We're not in position for this war yet, and we need to wait to declare this until our forces get into position. So that'll take a little bit, and we're just going to give them as long as we can. They've got until, well, 29 October. So on 28 October or before, we will declare this. And it looks like we're arriving over here with no real problem. So we've got some forces over here. They're draining on out of there. That seems fine. It's just going to take them a little while. Okay, so we're in position here now. And I want these guys to get army regrouping. That'll be fine. We're not fully in position yet, but we're pretty close. We've got plenty of time to do this. So who are we justifying on right now? Anyone? I'm not convinced that we are currently justifying on anyone. How do we see our diplomacy? Yeah, here we go. So we have war goals, but we are not currently justifying. So we should probably be doing that. So we've got like these guys up over here that we could definitely take out just really, really fast. So we can work on a justification here. That'll take 150 days. So that would be these here, and then I want this as well. This is just a cleanup operation over here. 185 days. So these guys, I'm going to have... I'm just thinking about how I want to do this. I'm going to select half of these, and they are going to encircle this. But then the other half of these, we're going to have to divide roughly in half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to do that, and then we're going to divide that in half, and these guys are going to head out over here like this. Perfect. That should do the trick. So we're going to want to attack Rajputana basically immediately. I'm just wondering, where are our tanks that are on the way over here? Oh, they're coming in by sea. But they're almost here. Okay, perfect. So that looks good for right now. Let's just get into position over here, and the game is currently auto-saving. Sure. Okay, so our tanks are almost here. Let's just wait for this infantry unit here. Although, in reality, these infantry units should be in a new infantry reserve out over here. And the tanks should be present. So I want to have these infantry come out over, like, here. That'll be fine. And then these guys, I don't know where they're going. They're just going to hang out over here. Okay. So I want them to come out over to like Isfahan. I don't care where they actually go. I just don't want them in this region. So we're going to get them out of here. That'll be absolutely fine. And we're now ready to launch this attack. But as we can see, this unit here is short on tanks. So I'm going to recruit 2 more units of tank here. In fact, I'm going to recruit 4 more units of tank for the time being. We'll cut that down later on. But for now, we need to declare this war. Is this going to have any other potential enemies? No. Okay. So in we go. Beautiful. Rajputana is already done. This is going to crumble very, very quickly. And we fully expect that. Beautiful. So, as I said, this war is pretty much over. We haven't quite cut them in half, but it's incredibly close. Now they're cut in half. It's just done. They've capitulated, and that's absolutely fine. So we're going to select all, and we're going to submit demands, and confirm an exit. So we get a decent amount of steel out of that. That's cute, I suppose. And now the question is, what's our next move going to be? We're already justifying up here. So I feel like we don't really have anything to work on at this moment. We could start thinking about attacking Ming. That will be the next big war, but we've got a lot of little guys over here that we can work on eliminating, right? So that's definitely going to take some time to work our way through this at justification speed. No doubt about it. How long do we have on our justifications up over here? And we already have our troop allocations for this. So that's 150 days. And this one up over here is 150 days. Well, that one's like 120 days. So that's fine. What if we started to justify on these guys? How long would that take? Even with what we've got here. Okay, that's, we should not. That's going to take some time. Let's check in over here. What would this look like? 375 days, that's not too bad, but it is a little rough. 655 days. What about up here? 375? Pass. What about over here? Nope. Way too long. Bhutan? No. And then, of course, there's good old Ming, who is a puppet of Great Britain. Oh, okay. So we can't actually go after Ming unless we want to fight Great Britain. Good to know. So that's going to complicate our fight with Great Britain a fair amount. I didn't realize that they were a vassal of Great Britain. That means that we're going to be fighting North America, Great Britain, their Asian holdings over here, and Ming. That's not a huge complication, but it is certainly a complication. Z17 we can't get all the way to, so we may want to attack like Buryatia over here, and this would end up being Lanxi. So for the time being, that's not going to be a good idea. We've got Kets over here. For now, no. And we've got a Wenki up over here as well. For now, no. I'd love to attack Nenets. This would be 375 days. So I think we just got to wait it out. We just have to wait it out. It's very sad, but here we are. I kind of wish all of these little guys would join a coalition against us. That would be convenient. Alas, that doesn't seem to be in the cards. It'd be interesting if the entire world turned against us in this moment. This would be the second best moment for them to do it. The best moment would be if they had decided to form a coalition against us with Ukraine. But they had no reason to do so at that time. Before we fully annexed Ukraine, they probably would have preferred that we win over Ukraine, to be honest. But then we fully annexed Ukraine, and they were like, oh. And bad things began to happen. Now we're the preeminent power in the world, and the question is, who's going to stop us? No one seems interested in stepping up at this point. So we're just waiting, biding our time, building up our situation here. So I want these armored divisions, of course, to go into here. And then we've got these infantry, which are going to go into our infantry reserve for right now. We're only recruiting 2 units of infantry. That seems good. And I'm going to cut down these 2 armored divisions for the moment. So that's fine. And we're going to leave the rest of these. I'm going to let these finish their training, and then we'll cancel these, and then we'll leave just these, I think is the plan. We captured a Ming operative. Okay, sure. That's all fine. I'm sure we have ways of making you talk. So what's our manpower income right now? 52.91. That's actually fairly improved. Okay, it's still going up, so that's good. Our core population is, of course, improving, but there's only so much that we can get our compliance up to in these areas, right? So if we look at this, we can see this is at 39%. And it is growing, but very, very, very small. If we check in at a location that we've held for quite a while, so that would be somewhere like over here. It's only at 42. I think it's going to cap somewhere around like 45% or something. So we're on a military governor for these right now, and we may want to change this ultimately. So we could change these to like civilian oversight potentially. This is required garrisons minus 25%. There's also no garrison, which is interesting. We're on military governor right now. So that is reducing our daily compliance gain. And that's definitely interesting. So if we wanted to change that, hang on, I closed the pane and I didn't want that. If we wanted to change that, that would be this up over here. We could have this be on civilian oversight, and sure, the resistance target would be up there for now, but this would, no garrison would be decent for one thing, but civilian oversight I think is where we want to go for now. Later on, we can maybe even go for no garrison. But overall, I'm moving everyone over to civilian oversight at this time. And that means that our garrisons are going to drop by 25%, which is, of course, a pretty big deal. We have this war goal available up over here, and I do want to go for this. So we're going to we're going to declare this war, and this war's over. There's nothing for them to do here. Like, it's done. They have no troops. So that's all fine, and that means that we want to start a justification probably down over here next. 185, it's better, but actually, I think I'm going to wait out this one. So that means that if we check in at a location like this, we can see that our resistance target is going to be what? Resistance target is 20% up over here. Okay. So our compliance is going to drop that for sure. But we are going to see some resistance happening in these areas now that we're on a civilian government. And that's understood. It's fine for the moment. I don't want to get rid of our garrisons entirely yet. We will get there. But for the moment, this seems fine. So our resistance growth is going to be pretty high as it approaches that target. We are low stability, apparently, and we might want to deal with that. So let's go ahead and this is all war support over here. I don't actually care about that. We can do improved worker conditions for right now, and that would be absolutely fine. Let's go ahead and do that. That will start boosting up our stability. So that seems good. And of course, this war over here, it's already over. We just need these guys to finish their movement. They're about there. There we go. It's now done. Okay, so we'll select all and submit demands and confirm an exit. Perfect. So that's all good. These guys, they can all get assigned over here now, and that's going to be massive overkill for this, but sure. Okay, so let's get this completed, and then we're going to start our next justifications, for sure. So that's going to be done in just a couple of days there. And yeah, we're definitely going to have a lot more resistance in these areas. But look at that. Our resistance target here is now only 8%. That's interesting. That is very interesting. So our justification of conquering Tomsk is now complete, and we're absolutely going to do that. Declare that war. It's already over. There we go. So that war is completed, and now we immediately want to begin working on this down over here. So I want to justify a war goal here, and you can see that's now shorter. It's not short, but it's shorter. And I'm doing it where we're getting a claim on all of this. That does take longer, but it also generates less world tension. Do we care? Honestly, I don't know that we care. I'm going to cancel that. That's going to throw away some political power, but I don't care. And I'm going to justify just on one of these. That'll be more world tension, but it's fine. So that seems okay. And yeah, they are not a problem for us. So next up, we can go for like Z24 out over here, and they are a puppet of Portugal. So this will call us into conflict with Portugal, and we need to decide, are we okay with that? Well, it's going to be a multi-front war, because we're going to have this front out over here. We're going to need to invade Iberia. We would need to fight down over here, which could be interesting for us to get to. We'd have to prep for it for sure. We'd have this front down here with Portugal. We can take Portugal, but do we want to do it now? And there will be other vassals that we probably don't know about. Alternatively, we could just go for Bihar here, and this is much more free. So why not? Let's get going on that. So that, of course, means that we're going to need to have some forces here. I'm going to make this army be right there. And their plan is going to be to offensive line straight down to, like, here. Sure. That's their plan. Now, Bihar has some territory up over here. Mildly awkward, but it's okay. And the rest of our tank units are going to be down over here, but I'm going to have one tank unit be down here, like this, with their plan being to offensive line like that. And then the rest of these, they're just going to offensive line straight down like this. Cool. And then the infantry here, I'm just going to be lazy, and I'm just going to put them in right there. Cool. So that'll do for now. We'll get that underway. Of course, this war is over, and that will be dealt with shortly. Eventually. Okay, so that's done. Fantastic. We'll submit the demands there, confirm an exit, and that looks good. So the real question is, when do we want to take care of Portugal? And I think the answer is probably pretty soon. A lot of these Z nations here, a lot of them are related to Portugal, but this one isn't. Not all of them are, by any means, but I think that just is more indicative that Portugal has a lot of puppets, right? So they've got this down over here. As we clear out more of this, we're going to get a lot more of Portugal's territory close to us. I would like to be in a position where we can easily take out Portugal's territory on land, but that's ultimately not going to be a thing. I don't think any of this down... Oh, they do have a little bit over here. I was going to say, I don't think even Rio de Plata is part of Portugal anymore, are they? They are. So we would definitely have to work our way into the Americas, which is not a bad thing. We're going to want to work our way into the Americas before we take on Britain. But we're making very, very solid progress at this point in taking over Asia. And honestly, Asia's where we're going to have the most... I was going to say trouble, but we're not really going to have trouble with any of this. This is more that we're going to have an issue with lots of justifications. So that's definitely going to be a thing, and we will see what that ends up looking like. But for now, this will do. I'm going to cancel these. There we go. Wonderful. So our recruitment is back to being relatively solid at this moment, and we'll push our way through these eventually, but it will take a little bit of time. So yeah, there's a lot of justification ahead of us down in this area, but once we get to the point where we have decent borders with Portugal over here, I think we're going to start up a big Portugal war. That is going to require a fair amount of preparation. Portuguese Congo is a separate nation over here, but that might not matter. We might not actually have to fight them. And Portuguese Iberia Company up here, we fought previously to liberate them and break up Portugal somewhat. So these guys are not part of Portugal, which is actually backfiring on us a little bit right now. Because we'd like to be able to just launch an attack here, but this is fine. We can launch an attack like this. I'm not concerned about that. We might want to start preemptively building a naval base out over this direction. Or actually, no. I've changed my mind. Here. So we're preemptively building a naval base there to launch an invasion here on Valencia. And to that end, I'm going to grab our Marines here, and we're going to start a naval invasion order. Well, we can't actually start a naval invasion order here yet, but they can start walking over this direction. We also need 2 additional units of Marines, and I want that. There we go. And we can set the location to be right down over here. So that'll be absolutely fine. And we'll get those started to be trained. So we've got these infantry divisions here. They go into our infantry reserve. And we'll continue to press out over here, but we're preparing for a Portugal war. I think that's going to be the next big war since we can't fight Ming. My plan was to fight Ming. I mean, we can fight Ming, but we don't necessarily want to fight Ming. My plan was to fight Ming and then push up towards the United States of Europe over here, clean all of this up, and then fight the United States of Europe. That was the original plan. But with Ming bringing Britain with it, that does change things in the plan. Japan is... Are they independent right now? They are. And they do have a couple of puppets. Noted. Also, Newfoundland is up here. Okay, that's a little awkward. But that's fine. So down over this direction, we can see that we have our first level of naval base built here. So we're going to start preparing a naval invasion like that. Fairly wide front, and that'll be fine. Now we're going to need a force ready to back them up, and we're going to need to push through here relatively quickly. Of course, we are not going to be able to get through this. This entire area here is impassable, and this is not something that we need to think about. This out over here, though, this is absolutely something that we're going to need to think about. We're going to need to kick them out of Africa very, very early on here. We're not going to be able to deal with this in French Congo just yet. This is Portuguese South Africa over here, which is obviously part of Portugal. But is South Africa part of Portugal? No. Okay. So that's good to know. These armored divisions can go into the reserve. There we go. And otherwise, this is looking good. So we've got these infantry forces here. So I want to take these guys. I want to put a commander in here. And we're going to move one army up over here. We're going to move one army over here. This is going to be overkill for what's in this area, I suspect. And we don't have much for supplies coming into here. That's absolutely noted. And that's going to be interesting for sure. This is not actually connected over here. So this is perfect. This will get that all covered. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with forces out over here, and we're going to have to deal with this right here. So we'll see how we want to handle that. We might use a reserve force for that. That's actually not a terrible concept, now that I think about it. Where are these guys going? Oh, they're just going to embark over here. Okay, I see. Well, we definitely need to work on bumping up this naval base, and I'm going to get a second naval base over here as well. I want to get these railways upgraded over here a little bit so that we are definitely sure that we are going to have supplies all throughout this area. So I want to make sure that we have top-level railways connecting our supply hubs like so. We're also going to want to motorize all of these to distribute all of that. We can't do that one yet, but we can do these for sure. It is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to fight our current wars, and we're going to start thinking very seriously about fighting Portugal. The question is when. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Spock, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.